What's up, man? It's Director Cortez. You can follow me at Director Cortez on all my social media platforms. I'm kicking it with the big homie, Big Vegg, at Another Planet Studios in Brooklyn, one of the dopest studios in Brooklyn. You already know.
What's going on, guys? It's your man, Big Vegg, and why they call me Big Vegg? Come on, man, because I'm always doing big things. I'm your Rocarazzi Media Ambassador. I'm trying to tell y'all something real serious. Another dope interview. I'm with a dope individual, and you know what it is like. With my interviews and with my content, I always want to get the creatives that's behind the scenes, handling all the dope situations in the background. You know what I'm saying? It's not always about the artist. It's not always about the host, but the behind the scenes of how things are getting captured, right? So I got my man, Mr. Director Cortez. How you, brother?
Good, bro. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. I'm definitely blessed. Blessed to see you, blessed to have you here. We're here at at Another Planet Studios, okay? So it's going down. Shout out to Another Planet Studios, the whole team, Dre, K Beats, everybody, man. Shout out to the whole team, man, for having us do this here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, director, I mean, based off of that, his shooter. Does somewhat of a photography, music videos. Like my man does it. He captures and creates content. But for those that are checking us out and they might not be familiar with who you are, because you also do a whole bunch of other things. You also just documenting dope content. Give us a little bit more of an intro to who Cortez is.
Yeah, bro. Thank you. First off, thank you for having me. Absolutely. I've been watching your work, so. Good shit. Absolutely. Nah, bro. Director, born and raised. Actually, born in L.A.
Oh,
born in L.A. Yup.
Okay, let's go.
Born and raised, as you can see.
I see.
Born and raised.
There you go.
Moved out to Connecticut, at a young age.
Okay.
And then, started off making music. Got into the music world, and then picked up a camera, bro. And then it's been that ever since. Kind of broke into New York. And it's going well, man.
Right, but first we gotta tell the story. You know what I mean? Because I like my interviews to have a story, right? You was a producer though, like you made production, you made beats. Like, talk to us about the transition. First, talk to us how you got into the game as a producer, and let's talk about the transition from producer to camera operator.
So I didn't get into the game as a producer.
Oh,
okay. So I started off producing in high school. Okay. I fell in love with hip hop at a young age. Mm-hmm. Chronic 2001 was really. Dre was the one for me, bro, and yeah, Chronic 2001, and then going into that, definitely Marshall Mathers was a big part. Eminem,
okay, Eminem,
got put on from Dre to that, okay. And hip hop was a part. Ever since then, hip hop was a part of my life, and I got to the point where I wanted to do hip hop, wanted to make beats, decided to start making beats. Got my first MPC, then got Machine, and was working on it all through high school. Got up to the point where high school was over. Got into college, still doing it. I met one of my best friends who is a producer, and it's like my brother. I got to shout him out, Rich I Am. We were in the studio one day, and he told me, man, he was like, yo, we need somebody to document this. Why don't you pick up a camera? At that point, I'm in college.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll pick up a camera. Why not?
Yeah.
Was in school, went to the office, saw that they had film communications major, and switched it over, and the rest is history, bro. Like, wow. Let go of making beats.
Right.
I let him do that.
So you stopped making beats and focused on capturing, on shooting.
100%. So I stopped making beats just because we kind of had a plan. So he started making, he's a producer, so he's making beats off the rip, making 20, 30 beats a night. He's a monster, and nobody's documenting this, so who's going to believe us when we were doing this? And I just decided to pick up a camera, and I started to like it, took it seriously, and I'm sitting next to you.
Wow. So how long can we say you've been, I guess, shooting?
Shooting going on 5 years shooting. In the industry shooting, probably working on my third year. Yeah. So, but 5 years, like the 2 years I was
Like you starting and then
doing it in school, and then the 3 years going on in the industry. So, yeah, bro.
talk to us about the schooling. I mean, you did some school, and then you had told me that you kind of left that alone because you learned enough, and you started to learn off of experience. So talk about the schooling that you went to. Let's talk about that path.
Well, first off, I recommend every kid that watches this interview or anybody watches it, go to school. School's good for you.
Right.
It's not for everybody, but if you're in it, take it seriously.
Right, yeah, go for it.
Because I didn't, and that's something if I could go back, I would definitely approach it differently. Right. Yeah, so school was good, man. I was in college. It was good. I switched over to the communications aspect of it, and it went really well. At this time, while I'm in school learning film and doing all this film stuff, running around, I was also trying to break into the music industry, and vice versa. Going back to my best friend, who's Rich I Am, who's a producer. Right. We're hitting every event. I'm hitting every event. We're going everywhere. We live in Connecticut, so we're right over.
You're about 20, 30 minutes from New York.
Far from New York. Right. So
real quick. What schools did you go to?
So I went to Norwalk Community College. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, okay. Right. Cut it right over there. Right.
I went there, and then while I'm doing this, we're hitting the studio, we're hitting different events all over the city, everywhere, private events, event recaps, Genius, we going everywhere, and at this whole time I'm learning film, and still not even having a camera yet. And I just started. I bought a camera, invested into a camera, started learning it, and then, it kind of just started taking off, bro. I just started flicking everywhere we went, started capturing concerts, and that's how I went. But the schooling part of it, I learned what I had to learn to kind of break in, and then I tasted a little bit of success. I dove right in, and I kind of left the school behind. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I felt like I was at the right moment to transition into the industry. I had a couple opportunities that presented itself.
You learned enough, right?
I learned enough. Right. I learned enough for me to feel comfortable making that leap. Right. Leap of faith, which everybody calls it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's where it is.
Let's get more into Cortez and the shooting and the camera work and all that. What is your favorite type of, I guess, videography you like to shoot?
I think favorite that I've really started getting into is probably like I really want to get into the cinematic aspect of it.
I guess what films?
I want to get into film and storytelling. That's probably my favorite. Things that I shot that I like so far, I do enjoy. I love music videos. But I really want to transition into the cinematic world of it. Yeah.
So more like telling stories.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Just because I grew up, watching a lot of cult classics that I consider that are great, and I enjoy movies, and I want to be able to give that impact to people.
It's funny you say that. Literally, I've been on my 80s movies groove before the night after because I can relate to Cortez because I'll be up all night editing and all that, and after I'm done editing, all night, right? And after I'm done editing, before we go to sleep, we have the time before we fall asleep, and I've been watching Little Shop of Horrors, the 80s movies, the Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, all the 80s joints been on the last couple of nights, and I've been tapping into that, telling the stories, right?
Mm-hmm. So I'm not in the 80s. You the 80s. I'm more stuck on the 90s.
I'm into the 90s too, but I'm saying as far as the story of the storytelling in movies, I've been really tapped into that, but
yeah, I think I think with our generation, we kind of soaked. We came. I feel like our generation came in the middle, like J. Cole said, middle child.
Right.
Where we kind of got the best of both worlds. So I think there's a story to tell in just living in that realm. You know what I mean? Because you're coming from the golden era, which is the '90s.
Yes, yes.
You know, and then breaking into the early 2000s, now the 2020s. But so much rich history happened between then.
Absolutely.
A lot of legendary moments happened between then. So I think creating stories kind of based around that area, or kind of trying to pay homage to certain things that came out. That's where I want to go.
Um, pet peeves when it comes to being on set, music videos. Like, what are the things that that because you've been doing this for a while, right? 5 years plus, right? So, I'm just. So let's get into it. What are the things that Cortez hates when you're on the set with artists, when you're on the set shooting? Like, talk to me, bro.
Uninvited guests.
The homies.
Uninvited guests.
The entourage.
Only reason why is I'm a firm believer in somebody who could come in and destroy the energy that you have going on. Vibe people, Buzz Killingtons, bro.
Right.
People that can kill the vibe. It's super important. I think when you're creating and you're in the middle of a creative space, or you're creating with somebody else, there's certain energies that are transferred between people that make that moment, special, or even, vibing off of somebody and trying to brainstorm, come up with ideas. So my biggest pet peeve is uninvited guests that come and, I'm not every uninvited guest, just people that come and, they really don't have an agenda being there.
Right.
It can mess up the whole shoot. It can mess up the whole set. It could kill the vibe. It won't feel the same. It could take somebody's energy that's invested into creating a certain, shot, or the artist a certain performance. So I'm very big on that, because you want to be able to deliver the best product as creatives, either, by yourself or together. So uninvited guests is definitely one of them. Word. And then timeliness, being late, being early. Oh
man, word.
That's
like yo, bro. Yo, bro, I'll be there in like 20 minutes. 20 minutes means like at least an hour.
Facts.
Yeah, I hear you.
Facts, bro.
Give me, and I'm like I said, you've been doing this for a while. So is there maybe like a situation where things have gone left, like out of nowhere, like if you can't talk about it, you can. Like, I don't want to, once again, we're not saying no names, but like give me that story.
I mean, not as much as things gone left, and I'm sure every person in film or videography or photography can relate to these kind of things. Hard drive's not working. You format a card you weren't supposed to format.
You delete something that you wasn't supposed to delete.
100%.
I've done that.
You mess up the audio on something, and all you have is the footage.
Yeah.
I mean, those kind of things are kind of like, they're heartbreaking, bro. And it's like, some of these gigs, you gotta be able to think fast. You gotta be able to try to fix it. You gotta be able to try to, accommodate either your client, your artist, or whatever things. But sometimes you're not able to get some of those things back. So then you gotta
bring it to the client, or like,
or you gotta,
just do what you gotta do.
Yeah. That's definitely something that is. I've gone down that road, and it's a lonely road, bro.
Yeah, what? You telling me? Like, absolutely.
By yourself, yeah.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the certain goals you have as a camera operator. The reason why I say camera operator, I don't want to put you in one lane as a videographer, as a music video director. You are those things, but you're a camera operator. Like, you create content using your camera, right? Yeah. So let me not disrespect you. Not saying I'm not gonna disrespect you, but you know what I'm saying. But I'm a you know what I'm saying. I'm a call you something that's right? So give me some goals you have as a camera operator. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you working on? Like, what are some goals? Like certain videographers or certain camera operators, they wanna get picked up by a label or a company. Like, they wanna work with brands. Like, what are some goals that Cortez has when it comes to being a camera operator?
I mean, all those things you mentioned are right on the money with why I think for somebody who's a camera operator or who wants to get into the camera game, I think you really have to sit down and create small goals, or analyze like what your purpose on what do you want to accomplish, because there's a lot of different lanes that don't have to do with industry that you can go into. You can become a camera op and work on Dr. Oz's show. You can work on Paramount Pictures. You can go to LA and just be a camera operator and just work on films, movies, and not necessarily be in the music industry at all. Or you could be a wedding photographer, a videographer. I mean, there's different. There's so many lanes to follow this craft, and there's so many ways to do it. I think if you want to get into the music industry, you have to create small, short-term goals, and I think you have to really analyze what you want to do. Like, do you want to eventually shoot music videos? Do you want to just shoot, morning shows, or do you want to shoot, other events? Because there's a lot of work in the music industry, and there in content. We're in the age of content right now, so content is king. Social media is king. Whether you like it or not, it's the future. How can you capture all these moments for all these artists and all these labels and all these brands is, so there's a lot of different lanes that you can go down that route. So I think, creating short-term goals as a upcoming videographer or camera operator, whatever somebody wants to do, I think it's good for them to explore, different things in the industry.
But what are your goals? Like, what are you trying to do?
So
I mean, you kind of said it earlier. You're trying to get into short films, but go a little more deeper.
So throughout COVID, I kind of been analyzing, my what I want to get into, and I think I keep going back to storytelling and back to, shooting more music videos, doing more cinematic things as well. I kind of want to go down the road of creating short films, and then obviously onto larger and bigger production.
Capturing the story. Stories.
Capturing the story and creating stories. Writing stories. From life experiences or friends experiences, circles that you have. There's a lot of people that have powerful stories that I believe you can turn into something really, really good on film. So going the directing route, I love being behind a camera, and I love to get the shots, because the way I think creatively, I see the shot in my head. So I love being behind the camera, getting those shots. But I also want to direct. So if I could do both, I would enjoy doing both. But when you get to larger production, most of the times, a lot of the times, the director is directing and there's a camera operator. But I still love holding the camera, bro. It's like, I love it.
Yeah. That's you.
That's me. I love it. But I also want to direct and storytell.
There you go,
so.
my man.